All right, if yesterday's testimony from Don Jr. was, it wasn't me, it's the accountants, let them do the mathing, today's testimony by Eric Trump was more about him having only limited knowledge about any of the financial statements, and it got pretty tense. I have people with me right now who are pretty familiar with what happens inside of a courtroom and when it gets tense in moments like this. CNN legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Elliot Williams and former associate White House counsel to President George W. Bush, Jamil Jaffer. Gentlemen, it was tense. People thought it would be. It's his kids on the stand. What'd you make of it?
What do I make of it? It's not an unreasonable statement or defense to say that I was relying on the advice of either my accountants or my lawyers. These are voluminous statements of financial information, and not every manager is going to be deep in the weeds on it. What it appears that Trump Jr. did not say, and the point he never made, was that he told his accountants, I need you to assure me that everything you're handing me in this document is accurate and true and correct, right?
Important because he had to sign.
He had to sign it,
right? To that.
Right. So if you're going to rely on your accountants, you need to at least have them assert to you that they're certain that they're right. And so I think there was a little bit of look the other way when handed the documents. And I don't know what the judge is going to do with this.
I'll play devil's advocate, though, because he could just say, look, I'm supposed to delegate. That's the sign of a good leader, right? Yeah. And so I delegated people who I thought knew what they were doing. And so when they hand it back to me, I believe them.
I mean, the problem is you got these emails that say you knew something else, right? I mean, this is the problem, right? You can only do the shaggy thing so often, right? Say it wasn't you, right? I mean, he was there. I mean, he got the emails. I mean, this is the real challenge. I mean,
receipts are inconvenient on trial.
Receipts are inconvenient on trial, and I think that's where it got a little bit tense when he was confronted with emails, and he also had given deposition testimony in the past as well that he was confronted with. But again, it's the other thing.
Wait, there was an issue with that because they were talking about which one we're talking about, which kind of get it murky, right? Okay, you're mentioning this one, but the last one he was actually better at. Why was that a tense moment?
Right. Well, I mean, anytime someone is confronted with testimony that they gave in the past, it leads to potential tension because they get tripped up. I think the other problem here is that in a bench trial, there isn't a jury, and the judge is the trier of fact and law and everything else. And it seems that all of the parties here have gotten under the judge's skin a little bit, and they haven't done themselves any favors.
Prosecution side too, you think?
No, not necessarily.
More the defense. I mean, this whole thing about going after the judge's law clerk. I mean, this is a terrible plan, right? Judges are very close to their law clerks. The idea that Trump's lawyer, who was the former Solicitor General of Florida, is going after the judge's law clerk, complaining about her, complaining of the notes being passed back and forth. The judge is incredibly upset. This is not the way to help yourself in a bench trial. It's crazy.
Plus, I mean, people who don't necessarily know what happened in the courtroom, a clerk, their job is not to just sit there and be a passive observer and then maybe bring some coffee. Their job is to be able to provide the judge with the information that he or she might need to ultimately fact check in real time and to aid in other matters. They were mad about the notes being passed, calling it a kind of a co-judgeship.
Yeah, we should stay on that for a second. It's really important. And I was a law clerk for two different judges. And something that the Trump team had picked on is that this is a second judge sitting up there. Why is she whispering to him so much? It is a critical role in courts at the state or federal level that these people work for judges and provide them with assistance on the law, assistance on facts, assistance, running down, doing research throughout the course of a trial. The idea that these very seasoned attorneys think that a law clerk is meddling in the judge and pulling the strings as some kind of puppeteer is just nonsense, and they know better than that.
And it's going to kill you. It's going to kill you in a bench trial.
And it gets back to this very point we were talking about a second ago. It just doesn't do any favors with the judge. This man controls your fate. Why are you pissing him off by picking on his clerk and undermining his authority?
Well, the other part of it, though, is because it's a judge, right, the normal, perhaps, theatrics that might appeal to a jury who's accustomed to a Law and Order sort of gotcha Perry Mason moment. Judges sort of see through all that. You can save all that type of charisma. So maybe the judge also would look at it and say, well, I know this is for somebody else's performance, but what about Ivanka? Because that's my real question. We've heard from Eric Trump, we'll hear about him tomorrow, heard from Don Jr. Ivanka is saying that she doesn't want to appear because she has a scheduling issue with her kids because they're in school. We're all parents. We all rolled our eyes twice at that statement. But can she possibly avoid having to testify?
I mean, it's going to be tough, right? I mean, the judge has not been amenable to these arguments about not wanting to testify. Right now, she could take the fifth. Is she defending? She's not defending.
She's very much not defending.
Right.
She was, and then they
Right.
sort of removed her from the case because she's sort of removed from it.
Now, but if she thinks she might have liability elsewhere, though, she can claim the fifth, right? I mean,
but an adverse inference will be drawn in a civil courtroom, which means that, as that judge could say, I think the answer you don't want to give me is the one that makes you look bad.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's smart to point out the kids. I know I use my kids as an excuse to not go to social events all the time. So maybe that's what's happening right now. Oh, wait. I gave myself away. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
It's 11 p.m., so I tried, but it's 11 o'clock.
Thank you for that salvation just now, redemption. Okay, everyone. Elliot Williams, Jamil Jaffer, thank you so much.